Look at all of these Pokemon. Generation 1 has a lot of classic, acclaimed Pokemon, and it also has a few stinkers. So let's rank them. You might be wondering, what kind of credibility do I have to rank these? Let me assure you, I have none. I've never beaten a Nuzlocke, I've never done anything competitively, and my Pokemon knowledge isn't great. This is my only claim to fame with Pokemon, but regardless, let's rank these guys. And my least favorite Gen 1 Pokemon is Paris. Like, what do you want me to say? It's actively annoying, this is its cry. What am I supposed to get from this? It sounds like a middle school fire alarm on loop. It looks like the significantly smaller, less cool bug version of the sandworms from Dune. Literally nothing about this Pokemon is fun, exciting, or positive, and that is why it is my only F-tier Generation 1 Pokemon. Paris? More like Paras. Weedle is nothing short of boring. It's a worm. Its colors are ugly, it learns a grand total of 3 moves, and I mean, what sort of joy is this thing supposed to give me? Well, at least it's stronger. Parasect is just Paras, but with a more hideous look. Look at this shiny, it is so ugly. My team said I needed to say something nice about it to justify it being higher than Paras. So, it's more useful than a pocket in a shirt. You're welcome, Parasect. Bellsprout is so odd. This is the kid in class that you stay away from, not because they're awkward, mean, or unkind, but because you fear for your safety when you're around them. It looks like they're gonna jump kick me back into talking about worms again. Is this some sort of sick joke? Caterpie is a Pokemon that exists. Are we done here? Grimer looks like Ditto, but it's worse in every way. It looks like the thing that attacked Jonathan and Nancy in the hospital. I wish they were here to save me from ever having to see this again. When I was young, I opened a Pokemon card pack and got drowsy. I was so disappointed. Like, what is this? Is he doing some sort of Doctor Strange mystic work on me? Is he going to open a portal into another dimension? Also, why are his legs but not feet covered in mud? I feel like he's just exploiting loopholes with stores that have signs like this. Jinx is... what even is Jinx? Let me do some research real quick. Wait, it seductively wiggles its hips as it walks? Does it take duck face selfies too? I don't even know how to describe Shelder. Like, what is this? Shelder looks like an inventory item you pick up in games and then throw them in the trash. I will give it this though. If this was a ranking on Gen 1 Pokemon with the longest tongues, it would come in second.
Your eyelids are growing heavy. You are getting sleepy. You are no longer a cat. You are a bagel.
Hypno, ladies and gentlemen. I will say this, Hypno has an amazing shiny. Venonat is a Pokemon that I would like to step on very much. Muck might be the most perfect name for any Pokemon ever. Like, yes, Muck. It looks like you took a photo as water was just splashing on the ground from leaving a cup, but purple water. Mucky water. You see what I did there? I'll admit, Farfetch'd should be higher, but every time I think of this lettuce-carrying bird, I think of how hard it was to evolve the little plucker.
No! God! No!
Weepinbell looks like it should be singing the Kanye meme. And it's up there for the most ugly Pokemon in this gen.
It's hideous!
Metapod is literally a cocoon. I feel like I should be playing paper football with this thing. Kakuna is pretty much the same thing, but it has menacing eyes. Pop-Off King? Coughing is fine. That's it. It looks like a balloon with holes everywhere. I do think the Skull and Bones reference is pretty funny though. Kangaskhan is visually similar to a kangaroo, but can it jump? And also, why does this guy never leave the pouch? Is it a 2-for-1? Apparently, the infant doesn't leave much until it's 3 years old. Spoiler alert, this Pokemon came out in 1996. And the winner for the Pokemon I'd be most excited to eat is Execute. It's literally just scrambled eggs. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have the heart to rank the Nidoran line separately. They're perfectly passable Pokemon that I don't care for very much. You know what, fine, I'll rank them here really quickly. Last, Nidoran female. I don't like the color much. 5th, Nidorino, only because he was a pain to find when I caught all 1010 Pokemon. 4th, Nidoran. 3rd, Nidorina. 2nd, Nidoking, and 1st, Nidoqueen. They are all dinos. Isn't that fantastic? Kabuto is like a UFO with legs. Wait, that makes it sound cool. Kabuto isn't like a UFO with legs. I would probably like it more if it was happy. Look how much happier he is here. Omastar looks like he's gonna eat me and I'm scared now. His eyes look like he's possessed by Bill, and Bill also scares me. Lastly, he's a shelled creature and they don't scare me, so he's 2 for 3. 2 for 3 scary is really scary. Staryu is such an odd Pokemon. It's a star. Not like a star, but like the shape of a star. I would say I feel absolutely nothing for this Pokemon, but I don't like it when it's on my team. Venomoth is probably a kind Pokemon, but I don't like moths. If it was blue, like it's shiny, I would probably like it a bit more, but its color is too close to Muck, and that reminds me of Muck, and now I'm thinking of Muck again. Yeah. Clefable is actually so average to me, I had to re-edit this portion because I mixed up the names of Clefable and Clefairy. It's a normal type. It's a fairy! No, it's Clefairy! Clefairy is the food in the store I walk past every time without considering buying it. Like, yeah, Clefairy would be fine to use, but why would I use it when there's so many better Pokemon out there? Isn't it funny how we all knew what Pokemon that was going to be just based off of the sound? This is the only Pokemon to dethrone Shellder for the longest tongue. That's a big deal. Mr. Mime might be the most forgettable Pokemon of all time. I swear, if it wasn't in Detective Pikachu, I would not remember this thing. If I wanted to see a real Mime though, I would just watch that Impractical Joker's Punishment again. Starmie has 2 stars, which is about the same I'd rank the thing on a scale out of 5. Congrats, you're not a complete failure. Victory Bell looks like the image of every villain when they tilt their head forward and become mad all of a sudden. Like, we get it, you're angry. I would be too if my mouth was above my head. Pinsir pinches things? I don't like things that pinch. Also, its teeth look like my coat zipper when the zipper goes right through and fails to actually zip, which makes me upset. Tentacool is the definition of average. It's a jellyfish, which is an animal that I consider to be average. It's mostly blue, which is the most average color. It's in 8 different generations, all near the middle of the Pokédex. Average. Seaking is my least favorite Gen 1 fish. Not that there's a lot, it's just worth mentioning. Also,
I was always appalled by the blatant sexism in the group's name.
King? King? From now on, this Pokemon should be called Sea People. Butterflies are such pretty animals. They're majestic, graceful, and oh god, what the hell is that? It looks like Venonat and Breviary had a child, and to be honest, I kinda wanna grab my fly swatter. Raticate is what I imagine Jerry would look like if Tom and Jerry switched roles. He's angry. You won't like me when I'm angry.
I don't like you now.
I've never known how to feel about Cloyster. On one hand, it's an absolute tank, and this shell feels like something I would put outside $500,000 to protect from Mr. Beast. But it's also like a mini Ghastly is hiding on the inside. I don't know, I'm kinda just confused on it. Rattata reminds me of the mice from the Rescuers if they were on Roid Rage. I don't dislike it, but I also don't like it. Just for fun, I'm gonna put him on the Steamboat Willie cartoon. Introducing Rattata Mouse. The amount of jokes I can make about Diglett are actually unbelievable, so instead I'm going to list off some facts about it. It most often appears in caves. At level 20, it learns Sucker Punch. Diglett has the lowest... You know what? I can't do this anymore. Diglett looks like a... The Magnemite line perfectly encapsulates that meme of the two guys sitting on the bus. Thinking about Magnemite versus using Magnemite. Two sides of the coin. The duo was one of my original favorites growing up, but it absolutely tanked real quick. It's supposed to be similar to an ostrich, but instead, it looks like middle school science projects of the solar system. Wigglytuff is neither wiggly nor tough. Apparently, it's supposed to be a balloon, which, once again, how is that wiggly or tough? It looks like something I should find hiding in the cabinet on an Easter morning with some candy inside. Hey guys, did you know that Arbok spelled backwards is Cobra? Isn't that super cool? Voldemort would be so proud. Snakes are generally uncool, but this guy isn't too bad. Okay, hear me out on this one. In SpongeBob, Mr. Krabs works at the Krusty Krab, spelled with KR. His signature meal is the Krabby Patty, and nobody is allowed to learn what the secret ingredient is. In fact, Plankton tries over and over again unsuccessfully to steal it. So, what does this have to do with Pokemon? It's because I know the secret ingredient, the Pokemon Krabby. Krabby, the Pokemon, starts with KR, just like Krusty Krab. Krabby is literally in the name Krabby Patty, and conveniently, crabs live on the ocean floor, which so happens to be where the Krusty Krab is located. And on top of that, the Krusty Krab is literally a crab trap, meaning the lazy Mr. Krabs doesn't even have to go out and buy the secret ingredient because it walks right into his restaurant. And you might think that this is sadistic because he is also a crab, but when you take into the fact that Mr. Krabs prioritizes money over anything, all his logic goes out the window. In conclusion, the secret ingredient to the Krabby Patty formula is without a doubt the Pokemon Krabby. But Krabby as a Pokemon? It's okay. I know that these were the first birds in the series, but these birds specifically I could not feel anything less for. Wow, they're birds. In order, Pidgey is the worst, Pidgeot second worst, and Pidgeotto is the best. They're so aggressively average that I often mix up the names between the three of them, and they look like something I'd hear in the morning to wake up to. That's not a good thing if they're supposed to be unique, individual Pokemon, right? Let's look at the pros and cons of Dragonair. Pros, it's a dragon and can probably fly. Cons, it looks like a snake. If it looks like a snake, I wonder what Dragonair backwards says. That can't be right. Wheezing normally would probably be not great, but for one singular reason, I like it quite a lot. Galarian Wheezing. Isn't this sick? I never would have thought a Pokemon would look like a smokestack, but for some reason, I like this thing. We should stick this on the front end of a train. Ammonite is a cute, small, likable little shell creature. One of my favorite parts of this thing is that it doesn't look like it wants to eat me, and I also would be remiss if I didn't mention that it looks like the tentacle guy from Pirates of the Caribbean. Hitmonlee is a Pokemon I would have no interest in picking a fight with. However, if he's on my team, I would expect nothing less than protection similar of that to the Furious 5, whereas I would be more like Mr. Ping. Hitmonchan is better than Hitmonlee solely because it has red boxing gloves and my favorite color is red. Apparently, it's nicknamed the Punching Demon, which makes me wonder why it isn't a Smash character, to be honest. Dugtrio is Diglett, but times 3. The best part about Dugtrio is that it looks like 3! Magneton is Magnemite, but times 3. I drew a picture of Magnemite, copied it 3 times, and it looks identical to Magneton. The artist went really crazy with this one. Dodrio is Duoduo, but times 1.5? I still wouldn't want to see this ostrich in a Western showdown, but if it came down to it, maybe I could kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Birds? Bird heads? Slowpoke looks like me on the weekends, except I don't have a tail. I'm also not pink. It's also important to mention that I am unable to learn Water Gun. You know what? The more I talk about him, the less we have common on the weekends.
You what?
Primate means so little to me that I thought about just not including it at all in this list. It's manky but older. Wow, so cool. Poliwhirl is fine. I had one on my team for a while when I was trying to catch Poliwrath due to chain catching in Ultra Sun. Outside of that, I have no memories, feelings, recollections, thoughts, ideas, connections, remembrances. Golem is so forgettable for me because after Geodude evolves in my party, I usually put Graveler into a box. I actually forgot there was a third evolution for about 10 years of my life. I also don't know how rock Pokemon went to turtle Pokemon. Did the turtle live in the rock the entire time? Was it a sap situation like Jurassic Park? Is Golem from Jurassic Park? Graveler is, like I said, the Pokemon that gets the box treatment.
You, sir, are the...
And not including the Paras line, this is the first Pokemon so far on this list that I have as a shiny, which makes it a bit cooler. Did you know that Chansey's name in Japanese means lucky? I am so lucky and honored to have known that, and I really feel nothing towards this thing. Is it holding an egg? What is that? The first time I ever found Scyther in a Pokemon game was in Legends Arceus, and he's not very kind there. However, when I play Fruit Ninja, this is who I imagine that I'm playing as, so Scyther is basically a legend. Hey guys, did you know that Ekans spelled backwards is snake? Isn't that super cool? Like I said earlier, snakes are usually scary and uncool, but for some reason Ekans doesn't feel that way. Maybe it's because of this PogChamp-esque smile that it rocks. You know how tall Seadra is? Seadra is like this tall. That's huge! Imagine you're just swimming around and expecting to see a small seahorse, and all of a sudden this shark-sized aquatic animal is paddling towards you at hyperspeed. Meowth is the poster boy for Team Rocket, and I don't really hate it. I haven't watched much of the anime, but somewhere I saw an emotional scene with this thing, and because of that, the entire species as a whole gets boosted up in these rankings. Kabutops is Scyther, but it looks like it has a plain head. This feels like a Pokemon targeted towards children, Dinosaur Plain Ninja. And just because I was curious, I looked up an AI image of Dinosaur Plain and Ninja, and this is what came up. Tauros to me is most notably different types in Scarlet and Violet. Without that, it would mean pretty much nothing. What would be cool though is if Pokemon held a Running with a Tauros event. Kingler. Wait, again? From now on, it will be known as Personler. Earlier I mentioned that Krabby was the secret ingredient of the Krabby Patties, so the reason Kingler looks so upset is because all of its children are becoming fish food. It totally makes sense. Machoke belongs in a wrestling ring. My roommates like WWE a lot, but it's fake. And just to prove that to them, I'm going to convince the WWE to get Machoke in a fight.
And his name is
Machoke.
Tentacruel is the more tentacle-y version of Tentacool, which is 10 times cool and really rules. These Pokemon are dual in a 2-Pokemon duel, which is enough fuel, you fool. It would be cruel if they rule unless they get the Diamond Jewel, you mule. Spearow! Fine, I'll talk about them. Similar to the other birds, these don't do anything for me. Both of them exist, both of them are fine, I don't dislike them. Out of all the birds, I think Fearow would be the best in battle, but Spearow is just the coolest, I guess. I have no further comments.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
And the most average Gen 1 Pokemon is... Goldeen! I mean, what did you expect this to be? It's kind of funny, this wasn't planned, and I went to a single article talking about the most average Gen 1 Pokemon, and Goldeen was theirs too. For each further generation with this series, I'm going to make a ranking of the most average Pokemon from each gen. Goldeen, congratulations, you're currently number 1. Electrode is only this low because I always struggle to find the right stone to give it. In Legends Arceus, it needs a grass stone, which is just goofy. In other games, it actually just needs to get to level 30, but thanks Legends Arceus, it's too late to move it now. Mankey was one of my original favorite Pokemon until I realized that there are a lot of better options. I actually just looked it up. If I had to rank the monkey Pokemon, he'd probably be the 3rd worst. That's not a good thing because the bar is set very low. Machop is a fine enough Pokemon, and it's totally acceptable if you like this thing. However, if you dare look me in the face and tell me that you think its shiny looks nice, I will personally Mach Punch you into the Nether Realm and pray to Lord Bowser that you fall off your bridge that's going across the lava. Rhydon is another one of those Pokemon that I can make a joke about, but I'm going to be the bigger man and not make that joke. Rhydon isn't too bad, and that's about it.
Hey Ben, why don't you ride on D's?
Why, you little... Poliwag is cute, but otherwise useless.
The one cool thing with it, though, is if I turn and spin it a bunch of times, you'll start to get hypnotized.
Slowbro reminds me of those dinosaurs with absolute mammoth tails. But I want to be around when that thing is swinging? No, not really. However, it also looks super huggable. I'm in a bit of a predicament. The worst of any of the starter lines is... Charmeleon. I'm sorry, but what does this thing have to offer? Outside of its color being solid red, I don't have much positive things to say about him. Look at bro, he wanted to be a Chimchar so bad. Sandshrew isn't too bad. I like his coziness and kind of want to roll him into a ball and go bowling with him. I really like his alternate form in Sword and Shield, but either way, he's pretty fun. So, Abra is cool and would be in B tier if it didn't run so easily when trying to catch it. Also, its attacking moves are bad, and all it ever wants to do is teleport.
Fight back! You coward, fight back!
Kadabra is a B tier because it does more than teleport. Tangela is a fun little ball of weeds. Its shiny is very vibrant, and for some reason, I like this thing. It looks like something I want to squish with my hands and launch across a vast field, but Tangela passes the test. Horsey is Seadra but smaller, so I'm not intimidated by it. I think one fun part about Horsey is that it literally says seahorse but backwards. Do you guys get it? Do you want me to explain it to you? Do you guys understand? I will say this, Jigglypuff has possibly the funniest name of all Pokemon. I don't mind this guy, outside of the fact that he's in every game, but so is Horsey. Also, Jigglypuff looks like a marshmallow. Anybody want to have a campfire? Beedrill is pretty cool. It's like Vespiquen, but without the pain of trying to get a female Combee, which makes me happy. I don't really have a reason, but Beedrill is a comfort Pokemon for me. I hope that one doesn't sting ya.
Oh shit, I'm using my wrong eye again, aren't I?
I always loved Porygon. Is it because it was one of the first cards I ever collected? Probably. It honestly just looks like a children's toy, and since I got the card when I was a child, I probably thought, ooh, toy!
You are a toy!
You are a sad, strange little man.
I'm going to get into why I love the Cubone line later when I talk about Marowak, but Cubone gets a lot of bonus points for being in Detective Pikachu. It's a cool idea to have essentially a living fossil, and I'm glad its design isn't based off of my grandparents. What's not to like about Machamp? Dude's a beast. When that WWE match happens with Machoke, the main card should be Machamp versus The Rock. If we're taking who I think the better actor is, it is without a doubt Machamp. Geodude is one of my favorite comfort Pokemon. Usually the Little Rock is early in games, so it's often a Pokemon I take into the early gyms, but I don't know, he just makes me happy. He looks like my younger cousin's face when they get mad at each other. Dugong is such a pretty Pokemon. It looks like it should be exploring the ocean in its own feature film. Speaking of that, did you know it had a cameo in a popular Christmas movie?
Bye, buddy.
Ivysaur is a Pokemon that, admittedly, I never can remember the name of. That should tell you half of what you need to know about it. It's in Smash, which is cool, but if it's gonna boast half of the word dinosaur, I wish it looked less like a frog and more like a carnivorous monster. Arcanine seems to be a Pokemon that hides in the shadows for me. Regular Arcanine? It would probably be C tier. Hisuian Arcanine? Honestly, just for its color change, it would be an A tier Pokemon. So I sandwiched it in the middle. Persian looks like one of those animals at the zoo that'll attack the glass if you mock it. Not only is Persian a badass, but it also has 6 bold whiskers that give it toughness. Let it be known that if you only have 5 bold whiskers, you are a letdown.
You coward!
Rhyhorn would break those yellow barriers in front of stores. It has such a cool design, like, can we play football 11 Rhyhorns versus 11 Rhyhorns? The final score of that game would be 0-0, but man, these things are tanks. For the amount of times I had an Oddish in Pokemon Emerald, I can confidently say I never evolved it into Vileplume. This was the first Pokemon I ever heard of that needed a stone to evolve, and because Vileplume is kind of annoying in that sense, it's not ranked higher. Hey guys, why does Vileplume not like elevators? Because it doesn't have much room on them. Gloom is only higher because it doesn't need a leaf stone to evolve. Hey guys, why did Gloom get invited to the party? Because he was a fun guy. Magmar looks like the kid in youth sports that doesn't know what he's doing, but the parents make him play. Like, bro, are you playing defense? Balancing on a beam? Working on your magical powers like 11? Dragonite is your typical dragon. He's no Blaze, he's no Toothless, but dragons are still very cool. Actually, thinking about it, I also want to add something else about dragons.
Hey Ben, how about you try Dragon D's?
Why, you son of a... Where were we? Fun fact, Golbat is the first shiny I got in any of the old Pokemon games. What do you guys think Golbat looks like when he's quiet? Better yet, if he were in real life, what would he sound like? This? This? Or this? Oddish is my favorite of the line. Honestly, this is the first Pokemon to help me learn how status effects work. Usually I just attack, attack, attack. Heck, that's what I still do. The first step to admitting you have a problem is addressing it. That's character development right there. Seal is Dugong, but even better. Only because it's cuter. You guys understand? Cuter equals cooler, in terms of Pokemon at least. Snorlax is me on the weekends, lol. You gotta feel bad for the dude's neck. I don't think this is safe to sleep like this. A few more nights like this and you're gonna fall asleep in the middle of a road, blocking everybody's path.
What is that, a woodpecker?
Electabuzz reminds me of teenage girls. Like, imagine this. Hey Sally, I'm taking your phone away. Hey Sally, you can't go over to Joe's house tonight. Hey Sally, Taylor Swift is a bad musical artist. Charmander is not amazing. Sorry. He's good, a lot better than starters in later generations, but not amazing. For being the 4th Pokemon in the Pokédex, he's fine, and I think Charizard carries this guy a lot. Also, since Chimchar and Charmander both share the Char part, Chimchar comes first when you look at it like this. Chimchar supremacy, baby! Golduck probably shouldn't be here, but I recently caught a shiny Golduck and I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. Now, if we do this ranking 2 months before or after right now, it's probably around 60. This is the duck version of Alf.
You are getting sleepy.
Okay, hear me out here. If Voltorb eats a Pokeball and I catch that Voltorb with one of my Pokeballs, and I build a Pokeball box to hold my Pokeballs, does that mean a Pokeball is in a Pokeball and a Pokeball and a Pokeball? And what if that Pokeball box was in a Pokeball house? Wartortle has such an epic name. Like, just based on the name, I'm suiting up. Let's go. Where are we going? School? Work? War?
I think he's almost done.
Poliwrath is frustrating because it was hard to catch an Ultra Sun, but it's pretty cool, and luckily for us, he can give his fingerprint to the police easily in the case of a murder. If any of you guys comment anything negative about this Pokemon, I will make sure you feel my Poliwrath.
Shut up. What? Shut up! Shut up!
Ninetales not only has 9 tails, but also 9 tails. One of her best stories was about when she was 6 years old, she broke her leg. She tasted the sweet perfume of the mountain grass as she rolled down the hill. From there, she hopped in her car, drove 90 down the road, singing to Tiny Dancer. She's also British. Bulbasaur, the first ever Pokemon in the Pokédex at least. First off, I like that it looks so happy. Second off, I like that it looks like it has a fun little green backpack. He's just like me, for real. Third off, I like that it looks ready to take on the world. Go get him, Tiger. Tiger? Haunter gives me nightmares, but it's fun. The most disappointing thing about Haunter is it's shiny. So you're telling me that a shiny Haunter and a Haunter that just got done eating a grape lollipop look the exact same? Luckily, Haunter comes in third in the longest Gen 1 tongue contest, so we'll take what we can get. Onix at one point in my life was one of my top 5 favorite Pokemon. Now I'm just confused. Why did it drop off so much? Because it's kind of weak. It used to rock, but now it just pebbles. Venusaur is unfortunately my least favorite final form starter. Of all of them, this just means the least to me, and I'm sure that it could be really good in the right situation, but I don't love it. I like it. But 32 Gen 1 Pokemon, I like more. Blastoise looks like he's gonna tear the roof off this place. If I went to a water park and Blastoise was there, I'd have at least twice as fun. Like, can he shoot water at me out of those missiles on his back? Can we go down the lazy river together? Why are we not doing these things right now? You, me, and some Taylor Swift music in a lazy river at moonlight. I'm in my Blastoise era. Dratini is the beginning of pure awesomeness. Usually, I don't like snake-like creatures, but probably because of its color, I feel like Dratini and I could be best buds. Wait, Dratini is 5'11"? That's my height! Wait, no, I'm 5'12". I'm taller than Dratini. Rapidash just looks amazingly cool. I'm sorry, if you put any animal on fire, it will look sick as heck. Wait, dear God, no, please, PETA, don't call me. Ditto is the Pokemon for breeding, and I don't really breed. I think it's cool that it can mirror any Pokemon, and I learned that the hard way when it became a legendary in Scarlet and Violet. Anyway, I hope this pink lob continues to keep that little cheeky smile on its face. Look at him. Growlithe is another fire type that I just love. He looks ready to seize the day. I like his mohawk, I like his posture. I just think that it looks like a respectable fella.
I'm really proud of you.
Lapras is my dog. Well, that's not true. First off, I'm not allowed to have dogs in my apartment, and second, it's not a dog. That was Growlithe. That gives me an idea. You tell me what one sounds more like a dog and what one sounds more like a Loch Ness monster based off their cries, okay? Here's the first one. Here's the second one. Which one of them is Growlithe and which is Lapras? The first one is Lapras, the second is Growlithe. How do either of them sound like a dog? Raichu looks kick-ass, along with a Pokemon that I would not want to scare. Like, if I saw this thing in the wild, I would run. I don't want him to call Zeus from above and electrocute me into more pieces than I can count. That would be quite the weird puzzle to put back together.
He's alive!
And the worst Gen 1 legendary is Zapdos. Not that it's bad, there's just other electric types or flying types I'd rather use. Visually, it's awesome, and I like its alternate forms, but I just don't love it. I like it. I'm gonna write that into a song. Zapdos lost to the most useless Pokemon. All Magikarp knows is Splash. Magikarp is so bad. But you want to know why it's higher than Zapdos? Can you catch a level 100 Zapdos in the wild in Pokemon games? No. Zubat is fun. I don't like bats, but Zubat is enjoyable. I don't really have much to say about it, it just gives me joy when I have one on my team. Now, wild Zubats are usually mildly annoying, but it's okay. I forgive it. Squirtle is my favorite Gen 1 starter. I generally like turtles, and this one is no different. And if that's not good enough, the Pokemon Wordle knockoff is named after this little guy. But yeah, Squirtle makes me happy. Mew is pretty solid. Part of why I don't love Mew as much as other legendaries is its difficulty to obtain, but the few I have had were fun to use. I really enjoyed the free event Mew I got in Scarlet and Violet because I stuck it in the box and haven't opened that game since. Thanks, Game Freak. Okay, hear me out on this one. It's a tree. its regional form is literally a tree. That is the funniest thing of all time. I love Executor solely because of this form, and I think it's just brilliant. How does this thing fit in my Pokeball? That's gotta be a little uncomfortable.
10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
Sandslash's regional form is a little bit better. I love how its ice type just completely alters everything about it, and I really enjoy this change. Regular Sandslash is cool, but whatever game I get him in will be a fun new adventure. Now for my favorite regional Pokemon, Marowak. This thing is amazing. When I first saw this, my jaw dropped to the floor and I started dancing around the room. I don't know how to juggle fire, but now I want to learn. These guys might have more swag than a backwards hat at a skate park. Yeah, they're that cool. Aerodactyl is literally a pterodactyl. They share most of the same letters. Do pterodactyls pass the vibe check? Yes. Does Aerodactyls pass the vibe check? Also yes. It's easy math. Alakazam isn't only psychic, but it can also eat soup with both spoons. Kadabra was okay and all, but could it eat with 2 spoons? It's also good as a Pokemon, I guess. I suppose that's important. But can you eat with 2 spoons? No. And if you say you can, you're lying to me, yourself, and most importantly, Alakazam. Cheetah, close your eyes. What happens when we set a bird on fire? We get Moltres, who is cool as heck. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's a bird that can set itself on fire to illuminate the night sky. Its color scheme is sick. It looks like it can give enough light to an entire solar system, and it's just epic. Mewtwo is misleading. Is this 2 Mews? Is it the second version of Mew? Maybe, but this is the equivalent if I had a son that went to the NBA.
Mewtwo.
Anyway, apparently a Mew was experimented on, and this was the end result. All I know is it's super powerful, and if any Pokemon belonged in Stranger Things, it's definitely this one. How screwed up is your mind? I think you can answer that question yourself, actually. I like Vaporeon. I mean, all the evolutions are fun, and Vaporeon reminds me a lot of Sidon from the Legend of Zelda series. It also reminds me of those bad dinosaur things in Ice Age. Jolteon, for example, is one of the electric-type Pokemon I'd rather have over Zapdos. It sparks with uniqueness, shines with originality, and flashes with another fun evolution. Jolteon's superhero equivalent would be the Flash, just because it looks insanely fast. Almost everyone I've talked to has a pretty similar opinion on this. Gengar is pretty much universally loved. I also love it. Would I like to wake up to this thing staring at me at 2 a.m.? No, but I would like to use this to terrorize the enemies of my past.
I'm the picture of health.
The top 10. We made it. Ghastly is a floating orb that I seem to really attach to. I really love its shiny, at least in some games, and I think that it's just fun to have. I really like how this, and the rest of the line, have such distinct faces. I mean, if you remove the face from the body, you still can recognize what it is. Ponyta is a comfort Pokemon for me. I just have no complaints about this, and it's really cool. I rode a horse once when I was younger, and it definitely wasn't on fire. I think that if I rolled a Ponyta for my first experience, I would have significantly disliked it. I mean, it's on fire. Articuno is my favorite legendary in this game. I really like the idea of a frozen bird roaming around, being able to make it snow whenever. We could have used snow in Wisconsin over Christmas. There was none on the ground. Anyway, Articuno is pretty epic, and some have said its heart is as cold as ice. Before you guys get mad at this, I would just like to remind you that its Pokemon cards can sell for up to $500,000. Charizard is just amazing. Like I said earlier, I really like dragons, and this is no different. This thing reminds me of Eustace from the Narnia series, except this one isn't a coward and looks like it could take on the world. And also, if anyone wants to donate me their ultra rare Charizard cards, I won't complain. My favorite Gen 1 evolution is Flareon. I really like fire types. Pretty much every time I get to evolve an Eevee, my first thought is Flareon. It looks like it could terrorize a village and then sleep next to your bed an hour later. Again, if you put animals on fire... Psyduck, confused as it might be, is just so much fun to me. This ranking doesn't have anything to do with Pokemon Concierge, but I needed to mention that show in this video because it is awesome. Psyduck has one of the best Pokemon shinies, and everything about it just makes me smile. Like, what is he doing? Is he going for a stroll, covering his ears from my voice, or rocking out to the most metal concert of all time? Vulpix is so much fun. I really don't have anything to say outside of that. Just pure euphoria. Pokemon's mascot is up there for a reason, and Pikachu is honestly one of the most perfect Pokemon for the job. I feel like everyone knows about this electric mouse, whether you follow Pokemon or not. Iconic is the best word I can think of to describe this guy. I mean, how many other Pokemon have been in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on over 100 different unique Pokemon cards and requires a full-time actor to say Pika Pika? It's pretty epic, and I don't know many people that dislike it. Eevee is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. I really love how it can evolve into a total of 8 different Pokemon, and the future is limitless. But Eevee in itself isn't bad either. It's a cute little fox, and although shy, really fun to have in your party of Pokemon. Eevee is also the most common starter thanks to the Gale of Darkness and Mystery Dungeon games. But there's only one Gen 1 Pokemon that's better. Gyarados is just perfect. When I think of Pokemon, this is always one of the first ones that come to mind. It's hilarious how Magikarp, possibly the most useless Pokemon, evolves into this, one of the best Pokemon in Gen 1. It's an awesome attacker, has a gorgeous shiny, looks fun, can fly, can swim, can attack, it's just incredible. It's always funny to see them flying around in Legends Arceus, but every time you can get a Gyarados in the party is a good day at the office. So, that's every Gen 1 Pokemon ranked. I had a lot of fun with this ranking, and although some of the Pokemon were less than great, a lot of them are really incredible and are Pokemon I would love to bring on road trips. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.